I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright, everyone got a copy of the minutes from last month's meeting. If there's no correction.
You gotta do a
Roll call first, yeah, I guess. Skip step.
Gotta make sure we're
Yep.
here.
Bryce Steiner?
Mostly, yes.
Yeah. Jason Franks?
Yes.
Steve Jordan?
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt?
Yes.
Dean Reister?
Yes.
And Brian Smith? Here. Alright, now moving on to the minutes from last month's meeting. Everybody got a copy? Is there any, if there's no corrections, we'll entertain a motion to approve them as presented.
I'll make a motion for,
I'll second.
Motion to approve minutes as presented. Kenny Reinhardt?
yes.
Bryce Steiner?
Yes.
Jason Franks?
Yes.
Steve Jordan?
Yes.
Dean Reister?
Yes.
And Brian Smith. Yes. Finance report from last month. No one has any questions?
Looks like it's got kind of small, we're just doing,
Just-
all we had was
just,
just the small check registry that went out?
Yeah, that's the bank reconciliation, and then I give you the fund balance and everything updated for each month for the, we got the expenses, the revenue up to date for the year and each month.
Okay.
No other questions, I entertain a motion to approve the bank reconciliation.
I'll make that. I'll second.
Jason and Steve, motion on the floor to approve the finance report. Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan.
Yes.
Bryce Steiner.
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Brian Smith.
Yes.
That's that one. George is not here for the police report. I know he's here, but you want to go see if he's available.
I will, sir. Somebody got picked up for, a pedestrian got picked up for a house. He must have stepped out.
Must have stepped out. I guess I overlooked the Rita income tax report while we're waiting on George. Does anybody have questions on the income tax report?
We're down just a little bit. Not too
For
bad.
that, for the month, but for the year, we're obviously still above where we were at this point last year. Any other questions? And Ashley had the EMS report in there, I guess, for your review. Any questions on that?
Probably can't ask you questions about the EMS.
I wouldn't have an
Okay.
answer for you.
That's okay.
Moving into the fiscal officer report. For this month, we do have a first reading of resolution 2023-14. This is the resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the budget commission and authorizing necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. We do this every year.
Is there an increase on any of these, or is it just the same, or?
Everything is the same at this point from last year, depending on what happens with the police levy. That won't change this, but that'll be
Right.
on 2024 next year, there'll be a change on that, so everything else,
Rest of it, everything's the same.
everything's the same, yeah.
So what do you need?
Nothing today, this first reading,
Okay.
and if George is still not available, we'll go into if there's any committee reports. No new committee reports, new business?
Couple of things. We got the engineer's report back on Schaefer Road. The estimated cost to make the appropriate repairs, depending on which route we go, is anywhere from $1.5 to $1.8 million. There is slippage. They would have to put in shafts and legging walls and things like that, so I'll begin the process of going to the different state departments to see what is available and what kind of funds we may be able to come up with, but this is gonna be a tough one.
Is there a possibility we could just shut that off permanently and then?
It doesn't stop, it doesn't, the problem is not only do you have shifting, but it's affecting the yards and properties on the east side of the road. So if it was just the bank, you could make the argument, you know, that you stop it at the one house or whatever, but I mean, it is impacting probably 3-4 homes there. So it's going to have to be addressed, but I want to check with the Maumee Valley Conservatory. I mean, ultimately, you know, whether it's a year or 100 years from now, you know, if that bank gives way, all those trees are going to end up in that river and stuff. So they certainly would have.
We're not allowed, are we allowed to dump big hoops of stone down there?
That won't stop it.
It's not the river that's eating away at it. There's something wrong underlying. Jason and Steve and I went out there and talked to some of the residents, and the river, like the low side is across the river. So when it floods, the water is going over there. It's not hitting or deteriorating, you know, like eroding that. So there's something underlying, and it's definitely eating away at the road. Like there's, I mean, when you back that driveway, when you have to back out of that driveway over there, it's, I mean, you're right up there. It's crumbling. Yeah, Susie Miller. Yes, it's crumbling right there. I mean, it's bad, and then people keep cutting through the yard and all that stuff, and so, I mean, you could block it off, but people will still go through it unless there's some kind of permanent, which I don't know that you can do that, because I think there's some kind of,
Yeah, it's just dipping.
for emergency reasons.
It's just dipping on the opposite side of the road there, like it's just sinking, like it's something underneath there is just washing it away, and it's just.
Yeah,
you know,
they want
falling.
to actually, every 5 feet, they want to drill a pylon 36 inches in diameter, 5 feet into the bedrock. And they'll go all the way down. That's one of the proposals and stuff, so
That sounds like stuff they would do to save a highway,
Yeah, yeah.
not a street.
well, I mean, I've already talked with Maumee Valley on stuff. It's gonna take some work to come up with money. I mean, you know, the state has all these different buckets, but there's some emergency funds out there and stuff, but I just gotta start working on it. We just got the report this week, trying to digest 118 pages. Takes a while.
It'll keep you busy for a while.
Yeah, it's not the most exciting read. So there's that. Railroad Street is near completion. Next week they'll come in and they will grind, and they have to put in 2 seal coats because there's concrete. The street was at one time concrete, so they have to coat those so that the asphalt will adhere to it. But we're hoping probably within the next 2 weeks that project will be completed.
Yeah, we gotta get that done before they start combining beans and stuff.
We're doing the best we can, but
I know.
you know, the big problem is just timing with asphalt, the demands on it, and being able to get the crew to come in and do the work, so.
It looks great what they've done.
Yeah.
Doesn't farm equipment use the driveway
They
north?
use the stone more.
Okay, I was gonna say they probably shouldn't be using the new.
Well, it'll be the wrong direction.
Yeah.
They may use it exiting, but entering they won't, because it's one way, or will be when it's all done. The LMI survey is, I took that over last week to Maumee Valley, and they'll begin the process of evaluating the forms and everything, but we had a good turnout. I think we had about 365 returned, which was great. We needed to be at 300 minimum.
That's about half of the,
Yeah, so they should be able to get a good indication on where we stand based on state requirements. Took a look I met with Curtis regarding the fire hydrant there on South Erie Street. There's really no way to move it. The problem is that the water line's within a few feet of that hydrant. And for simple terms, if we took the connection and we flipped it and put it on the other side, street side, you would be too close to the street and it would be extremely expensive to do it. He thinks it'd be as much as $15,000 to do it. You'd have to bring in a contract crew because of its size. And the pipe from the water line to the hydrant, it's not something you can cut or shorten because you have to have so much distance because you have valves and stuff in it. So, and height-wise, I mean, it's kind of the way it is. It's not like you can lower it. So
So does it need a new hydrant? Or is the hydrant okay?
no, the hydrant's
The
fine.
The
hydrant,
hydrant's okay?
Mhm.
All right.
it always worked when we used to test them, that's been a number of years ago, it always worked when we used to test them.
Okay,
Yeah, it works.
okay.
So that's really all I've got. There's a lot more going on, but I mean, I don't think you want to hear about street lights and lights around the monuments and things like
Hey,
that.
I do have something, I think, for you. I've got several complaints when you cross a railroad track on Wentworth.
Mhm.
The brush or the weeds on the west side of Wentworth as you go across the track is
Mhm.
coming out onto the road. Can they be trimmed back? I know that's railroad.
It's railroad property.
But
Yeah, I thought I had Chris not a few months ago down and trim those.
Right.
I did.
It was, I'm almost thinking maybe it was last fall, but
I lose track of time, but I know Chris did.
I think I remember it got trimmed.
Either that or some good old Roundup would really do it.
You drive by, Kenny. Pull up, squirt out the window and go.
Yeah, you mentioned, Brian, I'm sorry, to back up, you mentioned streetlights, and every once in a while, someone will mention to me, hey, I got a streetlight out on my street and it's been out, when are you gonna fix it? And AEP is supposed to be coming over and working on those, the last I knew, we had 18 streetlights out. Do you know the status of when they're gonna start doing anything to those?
I didn't know we had 18 streetlights out.
That's what I was told.
Well, nobody gives me the addresses. You can go on the AEP website and you can report it yourself. It's just a simple form.
Yeah, I know you can, but wouldn't it be better if they contacted you? That way you.
Well, that's what they do. I'm just saying that if you have one out, you have access to internet, it's a matter of taking, 2 minutes to do it, and that's
Yeah,
all
but
there's
at
to
that
it.
point, you don't know that he called it in. Or if he called you, then you would know that you called it in.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, AEP would realize it's a duplication, but when I take it, I fill it and I send it in within typically an hour. I get an email back with a work order number, and then they come out and they fix it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I haven't had issues where they haven't fixed it, but they're not gonna drive around at night and look for them.
Right.
So we have to make them aware
Well,
of
I
it.
turned one in on Wentworth, the farthest one out of town, on Wentworth, and they fixed it.
I mean, they're very good about it. I see them in the village, and
And whatever happened to, when there's a water main break, we used to get an email or a text.
Iris Alert,
Yeah, we don't get that anymore.
Right.
Who's in charge of that?
well, it used to be the fiscal officer. And I'm not sure if we know the password
I
to it.
have no idea, I was never told anything about it, so.
Yeah, I mean, so, and we didn't even really have that many people signed up. I don't even know if we had 50 people.
She bought a certain number of people that could sign up. I believe it was some sort of
I think it was one
a
per
pay.
billing address or something
Yeah.
for water meter. But I don't know, and I'm not even certain if it's expired. I mean, because I think it's a yearly type thing.
It's costing you so much, it's costing us so much a year to belong to that.
Well, I have not paid any bills for it, so I don't know if that's
You
still.
say you haven't
I
paid?
have not, I've never received anything on it, so I don't know anything, like I said, I was never informed on anything on it, and I've never received any type of invoice on it, so.
Oh, okay.
I tried to take and post it on our Facebook page.
Have we had that many water main breaks?
No,
It's been quiet.
let's stop talking about it, please.
That's what I mean, so there
It's
isn't
quiet
anything
this
put out.
time of year too.
That's right, winter's coming.
Yeah.
Stop it, no. And we have some patching that we did not do. Some of it got missed, but they're coming back on, or they're coming back sometime next week. And one of the, if it is dry enough, one of the patches will be that patch on Wentworth before you go over the track, where we had to dig up for water main. There's a couple of them on West River Street, I remember, and
Is that settled down good enough?
Well, that's what they have to check. If it's not, they won't do it.
They have a way of knowing, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Are we still on old business or are we on administrator's report?
We're still in
New business.
We're in new business, yeah.
I'll wait for old business.
I was going to make a recommendation real quick, just, I think we discussed this with maybe moving visitors to committee meetings. So when there's issues like the trailer or other things where there's a lot of people that wanna come in and talk, like I just feel like 3 minutes is not really enough for people to get their point across. Like Kendra did a lot of, back work and then you kinda go, okay, go. And so, and then we start talking, and so that cuts into her 3 minutes. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, we can still have visitors come here, but maybe if we have issues, like bigger issues where we know there's going to be a significant amount of people involved, maybe we shift that to a committee where the committee meets, the visitors go there, they can have that open forum, kind of like we did with the zoning thing, and those meetings where it allows people to gather information. Obviously, we have these committees for a reason, and then they can report back. And if the visitors still want to come here, at least we would have an idea of what was going on and be able to maybe share that, lay the groundwork for then let the visitors speak their 3 minutes or however we do it. But I just feel like a lot of those people, it's, all gas and like they don't really get an opportunity to fully express what's going on. So just throwing it out there. I don't even know how we, what we have to do to make that a thing but I just, with this whole trailer thing, it's been one of the things where,
You need to sign in.
again, I don't think people are getting their fair shake. So
I think that's a good idea, Brian.
Well,
Let them come and air out to the committees, and then the committee can go to the council with a recommendation.
They still need to have access to us though.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. Well, and,
Yeah.
and the committees are usually made up of us. I mean, mostly, but absolutely. And I don't mean, again, I think more to, like, if it was a committee that I was on with us three, like they meet us, they talk to us, we gather information. That way, we can ask questions. They can feel like they're actually getting to talk, and then we come back. And they can still come here and do their 3 minutes. But I just feel like it's shorting a lot of people. When they come in here to talk to us, and it's like, again, you're turning on a clock, and I just feel like there's issues sometimes that are, sometimes can be handled in 3 minutes, but other times can't, and then you kind of go, oh, okay, well, thanks for coming in, and that's, a month later, since we only meet once a month, it's kind of, again, just trying to give them their fair shake and make it worth everybody's time. So just a suggestion.
I have an opinion on this. I don't know if you guys want to hear it or not. My opinion on it is I like the 3 minute for the visitor to come in if they have something that they want to bring to our attention, that they can just make us aware of something. As far as coming in as a group, I feel like people that are in groups need to coordinate amongst themselves, have one person to speak. Most of the time, a lot of the things that people come in to talk to us about at council can be handled outside of this meeting. I mean, I feel like this meeting here is to do the village business, to get it handled. Now, if there's things that come on, we have public hearings and things like that where we can talk. If someone comes in and they have a big enough issue that they feel like they want to do or give us, we can draw a committee up and invite them to a committee at that time. But I don't know if just going ahead and moving it off this and saying they're going to committees would be an appropriate move. That's just kind of my opinion on it. I don't know if you guys are kind of seeing where I'm headed with that is we allow them to come in if they can't get anything done. If they have a problem and they can't contact the mayor or the administrator or talk to any of us and feel satisfied, they can come in their 3 minutes and say, 3 minutes, this is my problem. They don't have to tell us why. They can try. And then if we all agree that we think it's something that needs addressed, we can pull a proper committee to go look at it with them or to sit down and meet with them. Kind of like when we did a meeting, I guess Kenny and yourself, we went and talked with Doug. It was a committee for utilities. He had an issue, and so we pulled a committee meeting, and then we went and looked at it with Doug, and then we come back and report it to the council. So it wasn't something he had to come in and meet at 20 minutes to talk to us at the council meeting. He just said, this is what I got, this is what I'm doing, and I need somebody to help me out. So then we pulled a committee and went and looked at it and then reported back. So that's just kind of my opinion on trying to move it off of our schedule. I mean, I kind of would keep it that way. If somebody has something to say, we can give them 3 minutes and we can keep our meetings moving. I know I'm getting long-winded right now, but
I
that's
guess,
my 3 minutes up.
yes, I didn't mean to remove, I guess I didn't mean to remove it
Sure.
like completely from here, but I just meant in order to give those people, but that makes sense too, what you said, because if we feel like there is an issue where we need to, then we could assign the committee to, have that meeting versus.
You just wanna give them extra time.
Yeah,
that's all.
yeah, exactly.
Additional
Well,
options.
Yes.
And this is kind of where the last time this came up, and not to single anybody out, but the last time that we had someone come in and wanted 3 minutes, they come to talk to us about something that was already in a proceeding, that was already happening, it just needed to run its course. There was really nothing for any of us to do at the time. I mean, except listen.
Right.
I mean, we can listen, but unless somebody needs an action out of us, that's what this group's for, is for an action, in my opinion. I mean,
No, I mean, that's valid points. Again, I was throwing it out there, but that's why we throw things out. So we
and
kind
it's
of
good
brainstorm
discussion,
it.
and I'm not opposed to somebody that wants to talk, that if they can come in and in their 3 minutes, say, I request a committee, and want to talk to a committee about something, that we can do that in 3 minutes, and we can move on with our meeting and schedule a committee if we feel as though we can't settle it, or,
Yeah.
that's
No,
just
that
kind of
makes-
how I think about it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense too. I mean, just to come in for and request it, yeah, I like that idea too. Again, like I said, I was more just looking for a way, though people didn't feel like we were.
Right, and
you know,
I know the concern and I felt the feelings of the disregard from the last time this happened, but I tried to explain that myself too. But
Right.
I mean, that's the thing, I don't feel like we need to open these meetings up to people that just want to come in and do whatever and have as long as they want, and then we're here till 9 o'clock at night trying to conduct village business. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can give them the 3 minutes, say, okay, we'll talk about it maybe a little bit, or draw a committee and schedule something from there. Because we know this is government, nothing happens right now.
Right, no snaps of the finger. Okay, yeah, well, like I said, that's just where I was at with it, but
If
that
anybody
makes
else has
sense.
got input, that's just my input, that's all I wanted to say. So whatever you guys decide to do is what you guys decide to do.
And I like that suggestion relative to just that. I mean, that fixes, but what my concern was is allows the people to request a more in-depth
Sure.
opportunity, I guess.
And that's what I think our committees are for, is when we need more time and more information and to meet with people, then we can pull committee and say, let's take a broader look at this. And if we have to pull a special meeting for the whole council, then we'd have to advertise as a full council meeting, or make time for visitors. When we do have visitors that we are interested in, we don't have to give them 3 minutes. Like if we ask somebody to come here and talk to us, we don't have to cut them off in 3 minutes. So we just know they're coming, they're gonna make a presentation, however long it takes, Now, if we don't feel that presentation's appropriate for this council, then we can have that presentation done to a committee, if council agrees.
I like it.
So,
Yeah, I do too.
Very good.
Okay. Brian, give us an update on the splash pad. What's going on?
They will obviously broke ground, and they're just, I mean, they're getting after it. Like, they're working, I think, they did like.
Started.
Yes, they started, they're still working on it. I'm working on the underground, the pipes, like they did that stuff. I think I know Ben Coucher was working, and then he had a couple of projects that he had to go jump and do, and then he was coming back to it. So I don't know exactly where it is right now, but I know that they put like the pipes in under that will
They
connect.
buried one tank and there's still one above.
Yeah, the one will stay above. Like the one that's up now, if you go by there, you can see about halfway up. There's almost like a canopy that slides back.
Okay.
From that point up, it will be above ground. Because in there is all the stuff that controls the electronics that controls all
They're not gonna have to build a building or anything.
No. No.
that little gray oval thing, or round thing you see is the building.
Yes, that is. Yeah, and it'll be like I said, like 50% buried. It'll just be that over canopy or whatever, and that runs everything. Everything else will be buried, over to the pad itself. And so,
Okay.
yeah. So I know they're moving forward with it, but I don't know exactly. That's the last update I got was when they
And we did receive our funding on the grant for the 90% of it, so just so everybody's aware of that too. It's in the general fund, it showed that it came in this last month. There's no other new business, move into old business?
So what is current status on the trailer on Wilcox Street? I know there was a zoning board of appeals meeting. What happened after that? Where's it at right now? I'm looking at Brian, right?
That ties into something else that I need to add on to that too,
Okay.
so.
I guess I don't know how to address it because I'm not here to speak on behalf of zoning. I do know that action has been taken and it is being appealed, and I believe it's being appealed in the Paulding County Common Pleas,
Okay.
and I believe that they have to appear. They were provided information from,
It was just sent this right while I was walking here.
what is it?
Did we put a notice in the paper?
I did not.
It doesn't even say what town it's for.
Notice in the paper for a while.
The Board of Zoning Appeals will hold a public hearing on Thursday, September 28, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. at the Village Town Hall, 118 North Main Street, Antwerp, Ohio, to consider a variance, which is summarized as follows. Applicant requests a variance permitting the mobile home on the property to remain. No address, no nothing.
That'd be the zoning committee that must have put that.
Well,
I would imagine.
that would, I mean, I think that was a public notice that I sent, that Gabe sent to me to send to the paper. But I mean, it says 118 North Main,
The 21st.
Antwerp, Ohio.
Well, I mean, it doesn't even say for what village. It's, I mean, usually it'd be the legal part of it that says
I understand that, but the address is Village Hall and it says
No.
Antwerp, Ohio.
not for the trailer.
It's just.
It should say Wilcox Street on it.
I'm not sure what
Okay.
118 North Main is.
This
This building right here.
That's where the meeting
You're
is.
sitting in.
That's, yeah. We're gonna tear this building down?
It's a scheduled zoning meeting, not for appeals board, it's just a zoning meeting.
This, it says zoning appeals.
Well, I don't know where it is covered.
And that's the thing
There
is,
is, there is. a
I just
meeting
got this on the way here
Yeah,
because
the zoning meeting's here on the 21st.
we never, nobody on Wilcox Street, came from somebody on Wilcox Street, never got a letter about this new zoning appeals board.
Well, but I don't want to draw assumptions. I believe your letters are in the mail. Okay?
If you just
And as
got it,
long
it
as
might
you
have just got
receive
mailed.
them.
Well, no,
before-
this was in the
Is this for
newspaper.
the 21st? What's the date of
28th.
Yeah, what's-
28.
28?
Oh, I don't know anything about 28.
Yeah, ours is
He's
the
mailed the
21st.
letters out, you just haven't got them yet.
Oh, because usually we get
Our
30
meeting, our
days.
meeting's the 21st.
Not based on this.
Okay, because I was, because they said, what's going on here? This is something flying under the radar on this. Because last time we got the letters a month ahead.
I don't think
Last
they ever
time
give you
for
a
what?
month. Right?
There's a
What are you
time frame
referring
that they
to?
have to receive them, or add the mail out and
Mhm.
stuff, and Gabe is within his time frame.
Okay.
Do you want,
I was just gonna say, while George is here, in case he gets called out, do we wanna hold up on the old business and let
Yeah.
George do
Yes.
the police report?
Yeah.
Police
Absolutely.
report. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, you all have a copy of the report?
Yeah.
Mhm. You have any questions for George?
Then I'll move on. You have a report in front of you that is in regards to a rundown, dilapidated structure that's located in the village of Antwerp that either needs to be fixed up or torn down, in my opinion. I believe it's in violation
Hey,
of the village ordinance.
Where do we at on that? Just a second.
If you read the ordinance and then read the report, you'll see it's to the part to where council now gets to make a decision on what to do as far as that structure moving forward. There was actually two of them, and I was someone from the county had reached out to me and was hoping that both of these, the owners of these structures would be encouraged to not only, realize that these buildings are beyond repair, but that they would put them on the list for the county, I forget.
Land bank.
Bank, sorry, thanks, Brian. Where there's money available to tear them down. The other structure is the old, it used to be some sort of a factory. It's in the field of the ballpark. It doesn't have an address, it just says Park Street. There's an old gray house there, and behind it is this structure. Do you know what it was, Brian? Or did we?
Only what the mayor and somebody else has said, it used to be a honey factory or something like that.
They would just call it the honey house.
It's,
Didn't they
it's,
state?
Yeah, that's what
Where's
it
this
was.
at?
in the,
Right
it's-
behind the old green residence on North Main Street, when you go back to the movie, what they call the movie, it's on Park Street.
Back at the ball diamond, the old ball diamond.
the only reason you don't have that report is, that owner, through his attorney, confirmed that, the building's beyond repair, and he contacted the county and has submitted that, to be torn down. So, I spoke with, that gentleman's attorney, and we agreed that we'll just stay everything and see what happens as far as the land bank. The other report that you have is, it's the old car wash is what it is for the gas station. I know there was some sort of an agreement made between Mr. Marlin, the owner, and, the county. I think they come in and cleaned out his tanks. I'm not sure what happens with that building, but, the car wash was not part of that, and I don't think he wanted to include that. But boy, if you look at the pictures, you'll see, I mean, there's some, I don't even, nothing left.
It's my understanding that the land bank was moving forward, but they asked him in mid-process to also include the car wash, and he would not do it in the land bank, and said that they would not move forward with the remediation of the gas station unless he was prepared to do that, because they were not gonna put in, the amount of money that it takes to do that and have this
We have.
dilapidated building next door. So the land bank withdrew it from its list. So,
So you're thinking nothing's been done on either property for the gas station or the car wash?
I think there was some stuff done. They sunk a test well on the other side of Erie Street to monitor moisture movements for, potential contaminated soil and stuff. But I think that shortly after that, it all stopped. And so, I assume he is obligated for the remediation and cleaning of it.
What's in those barrels? Are they empty? You know?
I do not know, I did not enter, I just stood from the outside and took pictures of what you can see.
So at this time, do you need a motion for the council to proceed with this, or what,
Yeah, I think it's section 5, or 6 of the ordinance, it basically just says that, if they wanted to have a committee, maybe take a look at it and then evaluate it, and maybe we could, I've had, no luck reaching Mr. Marlin.
That's my next question.
He hasn't answered the calls. I even had the economic development coordinator for the county try to contact him, and they did have communication. He's not returned any of his calls. I've sent him certified letters. So, I don't know. My thought is to have a committee meeting and maybe have him come talk to you and kind of stay the process. You're at the point now to where you could just order it to be, you can order ask the administrator to apply for a demolition, and he can spend up to $25,000 to do that. I wouldn't think that it would cost that, but, yeah, that's where you're at. You can take it down.
Can you submit it to the land bank then?
No,
No.
we don't own the property.
Okay, so it has.
We have legal authority to demolish it,
But, yeah, you.
but we can't put it on the land bank.
I guess
Because the
our
land
hope
bank
was-
has to have the authority of the landowner.
Sorry, Brian, I didn't interrupt
That's
you.
okay.
I think the county's hope was he would realize, the town definitely recognizes it as a violation, and that it needs to come down, and then he would just submit it to the land bank, and
Right.
it doesn't cost him anything, and then the structure's gone. And no longer creates a safety hazard. And it truly is.
So just the building in question would be the car wash.
That's all I listed. I did not list the gas station.
Because I'm kind of concerned that if we get into doing the gas station, then we might become obligated for the tank cleanup,
Yeah, I only listed the
which
car
could get
wash.
very expensive.
What kind of shape is a gas station?
Well, I don't know. It depends who you are, I guess. I think it's kind of a cool building, but it's
Not falling down.
It's not as bad as the car wash, but it's probably in a few more years is gonna be, you know, if something isn't done. Or if somebody, I think it could possibly be salvaged, but if nothing's done, then it's gonna be in the same shape as the car wash here in a few more years.
So basically Marlin has just shut down communication.
I've not had any luck.
He never returned my calls. I tried, I left him a message, and at the time, the land bank was willing to, they had changed the program. It used to be you had to turn over the deed of the property, and they came out with a new program where they would actually do the work and allow you to retain the bare ground, and he wouldn't even return my calls. And I know that Mr. Copsey had conversations with him, and I know that as a former commissioner, we did a gas station in Bryan, and I think we had, the company folded, maintained the ownership, and was in the Four Winds. You couldn't find them, nobody knows where they're at. And they had many gas stations. And I think, all said and done, the cleanup was about $500,000. It's quite expensive, especially when there's, you know, petroleum found in the soil, they start taking out dump truck loads. And, so it's,
And he owns that, he owns the whole thing.
he owns the whole thing.
My only fear would be is if we get involved with taking down the car wash, if that'll extend to the other building, but it looks like it's two separate lots from what little bit I briefly glanced over what you handed me. It looks like it's two separate lots. So unless somebody tried to tie the two together, we might get away with just
Well, I don't
doing
think,
the
I mean,
car wash.
you know, Counselor, I don't think taking action on one causes you peril on the other. I think it's two separate structures. There is a gap between the two buildings. They're not tied together and stuff, but and the chief's right.
So,
I mean, eventually this building's just gonna topple over.
so are we looking at the village expense to take the building down and clean the lot up, but the land will just remain to the original owner?
Well, we
Per
would
the
do is,
ordinance, go ahead, Brian.
well,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, but yeah, per the ordinance, once the work is done, I file a report with the fiscal officer, who files a report with the auditor and places the total amount plus $25 on his taxes.
Okay,
So he ultimately will pay the bill,
okay.
Or they foreclose on
which they won't, because they're not gonna foreclose on an old gas station.
it. Well, if you could separate the lots, but anyway.
Nobody wants a lot next door to an old gas
So
station.
either way, the town doesn't need it. I mean, if we order it to be demolished, the town's not gonna end up stuck with the bill.
It could be for
For a
years.
while.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know,
Eventually you get
temporarily,
your-
but it'll be
eventually
on
you
a-
get your money.
Gotcha, okay.
So realistically, just spitballing at it, what do you think to demolish the building for the expense of
I
just
think that-
knocking the block out and hauling it away?
I probably would reach out to Mr. Copsey and talk to some of the people that do that kind of work, specifically for land banks. I've seen houses being torn down for less than $10,000, and this thing, you don't even have a roof.
Yeah,
You got one wall that's collapsed. I mean,
it's all block, there's no
I
asbestos.
wouldn't think, other than hauling away, I don't think it would take very long to do it.
I guess just as a whole, without having to pull a committee meeting or anything, I would be in favor of moving forward with that, upon knowing what we think we're looking at as an expense.
I think we ought to get with Copsey again first to see if he could, has he exhausted everything?
Yeah, the guy's not returning phone calls.
We're in a point we can act now as a village.
And if you saw this on the first page, it shows how they mailed the letters and he didn't show the letters and
All
all
the
that, yeah,
steps
so,
are here.
and he's not returned calls to George or Brian or Tim.
We're in our legal rights right now just to order it demolished. The village will pay for it and assess it to its taxes is where we're at.
So are we looking for a motion?
Well, Counselor, do you have any input? I know it's short notice, but do you see any way the village would be in peril?
I would wait until the next meeting to vote on it if you want to do it, because I want to make sure the statutory notices are good. George, did he ever Well, the certified mail came back unclaimed, but, I mean, did we remail everything, or is that's when you published it?
I always do both around the same time, because that's what the ordinance calls for. So,
Why don't we just put that on for the next meeting? We can talk to, I mean, somebody can get a quick estimate from Cowser or somebody, how much to tear that down, that way everybody knows what we're on, and I'll reach out to Tim Cox, I see him on a regular basis. I'll even try to get the gentleman a call, but if it's all good legally, then you can go and tear it down.
Everybody agrees to wait till next month.
Yeah.
I'll get some pricing and
Thank you, George,
yep,
for,
and I'll try to reach out to him again as well.
Thank you.
So that's old business, new business, where that was.
Well,
old
that would be
business.
new business, I
That's new
guess,
business,
but
back to new
now we're
business.
back to old business
Back
again.
to old business, new business. I'm gonna add something in here real quick while we're here, and I think George is still here. I've been getting a lot of complaints about what's going on in the village as far as violations of ordinances and zoning matters and things like that. And this is just my experience. I'm finding it's hard to find out who's supposed to be enforcing all this. So I'm kind of been on a mission on trying to narrow this down so we can say, okay, this is what we got going on, and we need so-and-so to make sure that they're enforcing all this. I've done some reading. I found in ORC 765, which we might have to look into a little bit. It's called non-criminal land use. It states that the officer of the village, which would be George, would be the one that would cite a ticket. He can't arrest anybody, but he would be the one that would cite a ticket for people that are in violations of our ordinances and resolutions. So,
and zoning.
and zoning issues and ordinances and resolutions. So I just kind of want to bring this up and let everybody know that we are going to look into this and see if we can't start narrowing this down on people that are in violation of zoning laws and things like that. I would hope as a council that nobody's here is in violation of zoning laws, and if they are, I would recommend that they correct themselves on zoning laws, and that way we don't have to have any more mud on the council's face than what we've already been getting. And that's all I have to say about that.
I got one. Erie Street sidewalk, any status on that, update on that?
He told me September or October, and I know he's got a lot of work, but that is what his plan is, and he was gonna get with me so we can go out and mark it out and, you know, get moving, but Nick's just got a lot of work on his plate, so I would be more inclined to think it's October, not September.
Yeah, he's pretty busy, isn't he?
We did the sidewalk on Railroad.
Yeah.
There was one that
Good
was,
job.
another old business that was brought up 2 or 3 months ago was Rita Brinkman. Has that been addressed? When she came, we said we were gonna have a committee meeting, and I wanna make sure we hold true to what we told her.
Yeah, I don't know that there's been a meeting. I know that we talked about it, because since it's a state route, I don't know that there's anything we can do about it, because they're not gonna let us shut down the state route to fix it. So I think I don't know if we were talking about that, or who was talking about
I spoke to a gentleman that
Where we at?
Rita.
Brickman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
that Rita was working with that has a lot of experience in drainage and stuff. And I told him, I said, tell us how to fix it. He says, I have no clue. He goes, number one, I'm not gonna do the work. And number two is, I don't even know what to tell her. She's got a home that's in a valley, and he said, and he's done it for 50 years. So, I don't know, I'm not saying we shouldn't have a committee meeting, because the council did make the commitment. I just don't know, other than frustration, what will be born of it.
well, didn't you contact the county engineer, because they were over there talking to her, right after the meeting that she was here?
I don't contact the person.
I'll just say from a township standpoint, when you have a flooding issue like that that's on private property, we've dealt with it in the township. It's the township's responsibility to get the water off the road. After it's off the road, it becomes a personal property. The landowner's responsibility to worry about the drainage issue. So if the water's, coming
I
up,
think all she was asking for is if she could have permission to put a tile to the drain. Is from her drive before it hit her drive and washed it all out.
I mean, if that's her private property, I don't see why she would have a problem getting that done. I don't know why she'd get permission from us.
Well, into what drain?
Yeah.
I think her question was that, yeah, in
The
which drain.
problem, as I understand, is we looked at that, and that pipe that she wants to tie into is possibly 10 feet deep, and it takes major excavation to
That would
do
be
what she wants to do.
something she would have
Yeah.
to foot that bill.
Mhm.
If we could even get it done, because we were right out in the middle of every time.
I mean, I don't know
Now,
where
is
that would
is
land.
that the tile that- Is that the tile that
Personal
drains
problem.
underneath the railroad track into the river?
I know it was on the railroad track or not, but it's the one that runs on 49.
Maybe the committee should reach out and have a meeting with her and just tell her that you're prepared to have a meeting when she brings a solution to the meeting so that you can debate the merits and determine whether she needs to have permission or not. I mean,
Why don't I'll be glad to get hold of her and see what the status is. I thought it'd been taken care of. I honestly thought she was told that it couldn't be done because of the problem with the water drain. Let me get hold of her and I'll see what the status is. and report to
see if
the
she's,
meeting.
if she's found anything out of her. Or maybe she's struck on them, maybe she's spoken to, have said, look, there's not.
Yeah, I'll find out. I'll advise you next meeting. I'll make a report on it.
I don't know which committee we would use.
I think Brian's the chair of it.
Be streets? I don't know.
Which one would it, yeah, I
Wouldn't
don't
be
know.
water, wouldn't be
What's it
sewer,
fall under?
wouldn't be trash, compost, relief.
It wouldn't be storm
Not
sewer?
finance, audit, or personnel. Fire, police, EMS. Maybe it's the records archives.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Good thing there's a recording on. I probably would put it under public service. Well, actually, I'd put it under utilities.
I think
under the
utilities.
storm drain, that'd be a utility.
Who is on that committee?
That's
It's
myself,
me,
Ian, and Kenny,
me, Brian, and Kenny.
And who else?
the three of us.
The three of us, yeah.
So if you're gonna reach out to her and talk to her, find out where she's at, and if you feel like it, get a hold of us, and we'll schedule one, and then we'll let
Yeah.
whoever know that we need one published.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Thank you.
And you can come.
Now, going back to what you were discussing earlier, about finding out how to proceed with these,
Violations?
where do we go from here? I fully agree with that, but,
Well, that's a good question.
I mean, we've discussed it and we agreed that it's a good idea, but we just can't let it drop. What do we do?
I guess we just need to kind of, I don't know if we're looking for, I know that you jotted it down, if he was gonna look into see whose responsibility it is to issue citations over that, if,
Is this something we need an executive session over?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
No, we're not getting into any specifics. I'll look at it. I believe they both have the power. I believe it's just different formats, which way you go with it.
Yeah,
But on there.
I think they both have the equal power to do it, it's just as a
Different
village, we
formats.
need to kind of say who's doing it.
Structure.
What if they,
So you'll make a report to us next
Yeah.
month, okay?
and I think, in passing, when we talked about something this, but we mentioned, if the police department is watching, since they're patrolling anyway, can make a list of violations,
They can inquire.
then they could give them to Gabe, and we could see what actually is.
And Gabe
then
can-
Gabe could give it back to the police to cite them.
Unless our police absolutely know it's a violation.
Right, which, I
You know,
mean,
we know
yes,
cars
I've had
with no
people come
plates
to me,
and
yes, I've had people
tall
come to me
grasses.
about different
So
things.
then, if car has no plates and half a dozen cars, then is it the police department to remove those?
Well,
Well,
they
they
issue the
notice,
citation.
yeah,
Then
they
Issue
they'll-
should
the
have 30
citations
days
and
on
bring
it.
it into mayor's court.
Yeah.
All right.
They can do that on the nuisances, village ordinances, everything, the police can.
Because it comes up to whether it's criminal or civil. But I think with ORC 765, it kind of spells out that the police department still has not an obligation, but a duty to issue citations over what we had said, zoning, resolutions, ordinances. They can issue citations, they just can't arrest people for these citations. So it's not criminal, it's still a civil. So they're acting on their civil duty as a law enforcement, that they can, if they're not sure, they can ask Gabe, make a report. If they see something they're not sure of, report it. I mean, that's our eyes we have here anyway, so I kind of feel like that, and George might be in disagreement, I don't know. That's why I kind of want to find out.
Back in.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I don't know. I've had citizens come to me and tell me about
You want
violations and
to-
ask who to report them to,
George?
but that becomes, yes, I don't know.
I mean, it's
I
something
mean,
we
I
could
think
probably
we can
talk
bring 'em
to
up, and I
George
think-
with. I mean, we don't have to have the discussion here. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I think we should just have some discussions and figure out where we're at with it. And we need to, I guess I'm just bringing it as a council meeting, saying that, as a village, we're gonna definitely look into this, and we're gonna start trying to make sure this stuff happens. It's not fair to the neighbors to have to complain about your neighbors when we have rules, laws, and regulations in place that we just need to enforce, so we don't have to have neighbors turning in neighbors. We just need a watchful eye.
One, this paper you brought, I think, points out a good, because the RV travel trailer, I know there's a few of those that I've been talked to about, so, that are in places that are people, and I'm pretty sure you might have one in yours that somebody's living in, which is a double whammy, so that kind of,
I don't know what you're talking about.
the camper in the driveway,
Yeah.
that's what this ordinance is about. That
That's
Dean brought
it's
in.
a zoning ordinance violation.
What do you mean that somebody's living in it?
Well, I assume since the stairs are down and the lights are on, and I've had people tell me that people go in and out of it, that may be a fact, but I could be wrong. I've just had people tell me.
I would like to move the meeting there if everybody's interested. There's no floor.
Oh, okay.
I would hate to see somebody living in there.
Well,
That's,
like I said,
I'm actually remodeling it.
gotcha.
And
Well,
that's
good.
all down to occupancy, so,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't.
I'm not requesting any occupancy. I don't want anybody lived in there.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I said, I've been told a
But-
couple of things, like the chicken walking around in the backyard too, but I'm sure that has nothing to do with you either, so it's, even though,
I'll claim the chicken.
perfect. So now you're claiming a chicken?
I'll claim, yeah, I mean, I would love to have a chicken, but I don't have it,
Oh, you don't? The one
but I
that-
would claim it.
The one that you're filming, oh, so that's not your chicken?
A lot of people, Michelle Reinhardt filmed it.
No,
Yeah.
I saw Michelle posted about it in her tree. I
Yeah.
saw the video of you, and I saw you mocking the mayor when she mentioned that it shouldn't be in the village. But I just assumed it was yours.
Neither are cats.
So
Well, that's not.
that's
a
not
zoning
the point of
violation.
it. That's not what we're talking about, Bryce.
I
We're
thought
not
it
talking
was.
about
Well,
I
we're
thought we were
cats.
enforcing
zoning laws.
zoning.
I'm talking about the chicken in your yard. So I'm talking about your neighbors reporting that they've seen you slaughtering a chicken. I'm talking about,
Again, none of those are zoning violations.
no, they're
Yeah.
violations of ordinances.
No, they're not. I want you to find the word chicken in our zoning book.
It's
Okay, that's where you want to go. That's fine, Bryce.
Okay, but
This
no,
is-
you've already
What's
made
under-
accusations
zoning is
that-
under R2, you can't have
Right.
farm animals,
Okay, cats are farm animals, and so are dogs.
not by state definition.
Okay, when you start putting in a definition list, it's not in our definition list in the zoning.
So
It's-
you're
it's
violating it,
state.
but you're
So-
going to go around the words on it. That's
No.
perfect. No, that's perfect, Bryce. That's good.
Where do you think
That's-
I'm raising chickens
that's-
at?
the one walking around in your backyard that you're filming, I'm assuming.
That's not my
but-
yard.
Okay, gotcha.
Is it your chicken?
No, yeah, I'll take it. It's my chicken. There, find me.
Oh, no, I'm good. When you came to this office, we all took an oath that we would uphold ordinances and laws, and now you're admitting you have a chicken and you're violating it and you don't care.
There is no chicken back there.
Okay. There's a video of you taping your chicken. So, but now you're going back and forth, and yes, it's yours. No, it's not. I don't care. How about the criminal trespassing that you did to take the pictures of the trailer on Wilcox? To go in there and physically get pictures that was brought up in the zoning meeting.
You want to go down that street?
Sure, let's go down that street, Bryce. It's not me. I'm not the one that's
Wait a
bringing
minute.
up the criminal charges.
I did not go in there.
Okay,
Then how were those pictures acquired of inside the trailer?
Because it was on, the trailer is literally on the neighbor's property.
Gotcha, okay. So someone, your son, was it your son that went in and took the pictures?
No, the windows were open for 3 months.
Oh, okay. Okay. Whatever, Bryce, it is what
But
it
if you want
is.
to go, I mean, so far you keep making all these accusations and none have been true.
Oh, okay.
From the trailer?
Yep. I'm good.
I'd move on, guys. for
Yes,
Yeah.
please do,
You're
because
No, it's good. You
Well-
show your character. I don't have to worry about it, so.
Just in conclusion, we all had an oath, and I think we should uphold our standard with an oath of being on this council. Whether you're in violation, feel like you're in violation, if you know you're in violation, then you should correct your actions. That's all I gotta say.
Bryce, I think what it comes down to, it doesn't matter if anybody's living in your trailer or not, it's in your driveway in the front yard, and it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be in the backyard.
And yours is
Am
not
I
the
wrong?
only one.
That's how the ordinance reads, so.
Not supposed to exceed in front of the house.
Yeah,
So.
it is behind the house.
it's in your driveway.
Again,
Rear yard,
and it is behind my house.
rear yard.
Okay, so I would suggest you move on because I'm gonna keep it there.
That's fine.
Okay,
Not
Is there any
shocking at all.
other old business?
Until, for now, I mean, it's behind the front of my house.
We got other business?
Yep, status update on water treatment plant. Still waiting on EPA or any movement?
So waiting on the Ohio EPA.
What is it we're waiting for them for?
They have to accept our general plan to begin with.
Okay.
When will
And that's
it
been
start to
submitted.
work, though? I'm sorry.
That was submitted in May.
Is the water line still a go for next spring, hopefully?
No, I'm waiting for the engineer to come back and give me an estimate of what it would cost to have it
Oh,
engineered.
okay.
Thank you.
Several months ago, we brought up the Paragon Water contract. And it was withdrawn at the beginning of the meeting. Where are we at on that?
I think the committee was supposed to schedule a meeting to have a discussion.
I mean, it can just expire, there's nothing wrong with letting it just expire and be treated like any other business.
What,
I think we talked about that, because we weren't gonna mess with, I think that's what we discussed, but I don't know that we ever had an official meeting, so.
I just say it
well,
because we're
the
gonna have
committee was
4
gonna,
months left.
the committee was gonna meet to discuss whether or not we wanted to change the rate for Paragon.
Yeah, we had an ordinance and it was withdrawn at the beginning of the meeting 4 months ago.
Didn't we go on that?
No, we did not. It was withdrawn for the utility commission to look into to see if
That's
they were gonna
correct.
make revisions to the, what was there.
Didn't we?
Oh, it's pending the utility committee.
Well, I suppose we need to schedule a meeting.
Get you a copy of that.
Of the
Resolution.
That was withdrawn.
So they have it.
Utilities Committee is Brian, Dean, and Kenny.
So we need to have a meeting.
I'll get you a copy of the meeting, I think it's in the file.
It'll be on the website.
Well, the old one?
Mhm.
Right, okay. I didn't know if they wanted the one that was revised, that you,
There's
no changes to it?
There was a change, because I drafted it anyway.
I just said we drafted a new resolution. So that was what you proposed, and then we decided to not vote on the proposal until the utilities commission
I'll have to.
recommended that.
I'll have it in my email.
I've got a copy of it still. if you want to propose it.
That meeting, I had given everybody copies of the current rates and what people were paying before and after to the residents too. If you don't have a copy of that spreadsheet, I can provide it again.
I think it's worth noting that there's no one in town buying 3 million gallons a year.
Yeah, it isn't wearing the equipment out quite a bit from all the usage. So it needs to be taken into consideration.
Any other business?
Move into the mayor's report then.
Who's the chairman?
Brian.
Brian, okay. Brian, let me know when you want to have a
Yes, sir.
Is that end of old business?
Well, yeah, we're moving into the mayor's report.
Okay. This month's total to the city was $4,226. Sent to the state, $975. Indigent drivers, $39, with a total of $5,240. Been writing some tickets.
Probably be writing some more.
There's no other questions on the mayor's report. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Jason and Dean. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Meeting adjourned at 6:30.